In 2002, Queens of the Stone Age released their album Songs for the Deaf, and my friend Zach and I are going to talk about it on this episode of Records with Ray.
So, I mean, when you were asking me about choosing something, I was agonizing for a while.
Yeah.
Because I can go ahead and I'll have phases and I'll go back and revisit things all the time. But This is one of the albums that I ended up always playing a lot, especially on any road trip.
Okay.
And, I mean, I heard Rated R first. And really, I think probably when this album came out is when I really actually started paying attention to them more.
Okay.
And I've been able to finally see them a few times now. But I think for me, it kind of encompasses a lot of what I would do if I could start my own band. That's, I think, probably what I would want to do more than anything else. And what I appreciate most about this album is how, obviously they didn't invent rock and roll, right? But they took really fucking amazing notes, and they just go ahead and took all the best things and did very tasty borrowing and production, and just all the tricks are there. And then if you really listen to it more, you develop more of an appreciation of it every time you listen to it. I'm still finding shit I never noticed and until recently.
Yeah.
But right with the opening track, Millionaire, you just get hit over the head immediately. You're hooked. Mm-hmm. And the whole concept album of this being sort of like a road trip from LA to Joshua Tree,
Mm-hmm.
With all the little radio bits and all that stuff, it's just absolutely genius.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
Well, it's funny that you're right. The Queens of the Stone Age, they didn't. No rock and roll band really, reinvents the wheel. But I will say this about Queens of the Stone Age is they have a very distinct style that they created. That if you were to what we're talking about, Songs for the Deaf. I can't. There's no band that I can say Queens of the Stone Age sounds like this band. Mm-hmm. None.
And they get lumped in with stoner. I don't think they really
no.
stoner.
Well, I think the reason why is because I think Josh was in Caius, which was a stoner rock band. But the Queens of the Stone Age are not a stoner rock band at all. God, I mean, it's like you want to talk about timing. When did Songs for the Deaf come out?
Early aughts, mid aughts.
Yeah, the early aughts. That's about right. And there wasn't a lot of real full-on rock and roll bands that came out around that time. I remember when I think about the late '90s into the early 2000s. I mean, Foo Fighters is a band that's was around that was actually doing rock and roll, but Foo Fighters don't sound nothing like Queens of the Stone Age. Even though Dave Grohl is the drummer on of Songs for the Deaf. I remember how I got into Queens of the Stone Age. I remember hearing the song, the song about keeping a secret, that was off Rated R. And I loved that. I loved that downward chord progression that they did. And I didn't buy the album. I remember just hearing it and I liked it. But I bought Songs from the Deaf. That was my first album from Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah, purchased.
And I really, really loved it. A lot of it is because of Dave Grohl's drumming.
Totally.
I think he's
I wish he would just stick with it, frankly.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other conversation. But what I loved about Queens of the Stone Age and what I love about Songs for the Deaf is that there's a lot of different moods going on. The very first song is a full-on 4/4 rock and roll song.
And they have all those little tricks where they have that pause where you think it's over and starts again. And then you have no idea too, like with the mastering with that, it's not as bad the rest of the way, but you crank it up thinking you're going to want a little louder, and then all of a sudden you blow your speakers when it kicks in.
Yeah. What's the song that has all the weird time signatures in it?
Hanging Tree.
Yeah.
So then, like, you got the other supergroup angle, which, how often does that ever work? Sometimes people get together with their buddies and it's a fucking train wreck, even though it's a big pool of talent. But then you got Mark Lanigan in there,
Yeah.
who's always amazing. And so he does Hanging Tree and he does God is in the Radio.
Yeah.
And Hanging Tree, I never really thought about this before, but I was trying to kind of like figure out what the time signature was, and there's like 3
Yeah.
or 4 in there, and it's something wild. Like I looked it up and they were saying 5/8, but I can't even feel that. It's almost like a waltz.
Yeah.
And then it'll change up again to 4/4 for a hot second, and then.
But what I find interesting about that song is that, in spite of all those time signatures, to me, I see that song as more of like an atmospheric kind of song.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think about that, and that's great songwriting.
And that's what Lanigan does best. I mean, it's kind of his signature.
So you said that you heard Rated R first, but did you buy it?
And that's actually, yeah, I did. And
So was that the first album that you bought for Queens of the Stone Age?
It was, and the interesting thing is like every one of their albums sounds different enough. The tragic thing is my wife did not care for them at all for the longest time, and I was absolutely perplexed because it seemed like it would be completely in her wheelhouse. I'm like, how can you hate this band? It's the perfect fucking band.
Yeah.
There's everything is represented. And I found out what happened was that she worked in a store where she had only ever heard Era Vulgaris.
Yeah.
And it was played constantly.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, okay. That's why. Not to say that there's nothing good on Era, but it is not a good album. And Songs for the Deaf is no filler, all killer. Just well crafted, thought out. Everything works. Even No One Knows, as much as you might have gotten sick of it, segues well.
Well, what I like about Queens of the Stone Age, and what I like, music's all about mood.
Mm-hmm.
And the main mood that I get from listening to Queens of the Stone Age, and especially Songs for the Deaf, that it's almost like listening to the soundtrack of someone who's just starting to lose their mind. In the chord progressions, the time change, the weird time signatures, the juxtaposition of like the songs that are full on rockers and heavy, the songs that are definitely atmospheric and depressing and stuff like that. There's an unsettling vibe that Queens of the Stone Age has.
Mm-hmm.
That I can't put a finger on exactly why.
Almost film noir, desert rock in a way.
Yeah.
So.
There's a little creepiness going on.
Mm-hmm.
Songs for the Deaf, I mean, it's like the album cover's red. It's a pitchfork. Which I guess is supposed to symbolize the devil or something.
I think it was also they put it in with the artwork on the inside, where it was kind of factored into this muscle car as like a Dodge Demon or something like that. And then they went ahead and changed a lot of like the control names and that sort of things. It's kind of all part of this road trip.
Yeah.
And definitely it is an album that I play almost every time on a real road trip.
So let's talk about what I want to talk about as far as Songs for the Deaf is concerned. Do you know about the hidden track?
Oh, the one at the very end.
No. Ironically, it's at the very beginning. They've nicknamed it. The nickname for the song is called The Real Song for the Deaf.
Oh,
Have you heard about this?
I have not.
Okay. There is a song called, well, as I said, it's nicknamed The Real Song for the Deaf. It's in the pre-gap.
Does it show up on the fake radio bit when they open the door?
No.
Oh.
No, it's very, very interesting. On a CD, you have tracks.
Yeah.
01, 02, 03, on and on. Well, there is actually a track 00.
Huh.
It's called a pre-gap track. And you can put something on there. But the only way you can get to the song is you got to play the first song. And then you got to push reverse.
Like,
and then
the
it
whole-
goes to the song, and then you get it. Then you get it. It'll start playing.
Really?
And what the real song for the death song is it's literally it's this voice that says something at the beginning. I think it's literally just as it's like, hey, what? And then all of a sudden you hear this like real low, real bassy, kind of real creepy.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets louder. And then you start hearing these like weird. Then it turns into this like weird like electronic kind of noises. Real syncopated, real weird. And then the keys, you hear the keys of the guy getting into the car.
Uh-huh.
And I guess track 1 starts halfway through with those keys rattling, and then you go into it.
Wow. So you can't get this if you download it, and you can't.
You gotta play
They
it.
never did a vinyl version of this.
No, you gotta have the CD.
Wow.
Yeah, I was on a YouTube rabbit hole a while back, talking about, and it was about like how there's these hidden songs and hidden things and albums, and they talk about the real song from the Deaf.
Huh.
On Queens of the Stone
I
Age.
had no idea. That's awesome.
I literally found out about it like 2 months ago.
I mean, most of the times you get the hidden track, it's because you forget to turn off the thing, and then you fall asleep, and then 30 minutes later it shows up at the very end.
Yeah, not this. You have to go to it.
Wow.
And the thing that sucks is like
Anyone else ever do this that you know of?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, but there's, and of course I find this out as I'm like searching through YouTube, and it's 11:30 at night, and like now I'm about ready to go to bed, and now I'm like creeped out as I'm like listening to this stuff, like it's like, but yeah, real songs for the deaf.
Do you have the CD?
Not anymore.
Okay, well, wow, we should check that out.
Yeah, we'll have to check it out. So, friends and family at home, if you want to check out the real songs for the deaf, go to your first song and then rewind it, and then you'll get to the first track.
Yeah, every time I listen to it, I get something new.
Or we'll just go on YouTube. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, I've been waiting to hold on to
that
that
it?
the whole time.
My God.
Hey gang, this is Ray, and I just want to say thank you very much for checking out my video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more videos, please click on the subscribe button. And if you like what you see, please give it a like. That would mean a lot to me. And if you're wondering why I'm wearing Hawaiian shirts, well, when I'm not talking about records, I'm talking about my other love, Tiki. I have a show called Tiki with Ray. If you want to check that show out, just search Tiki with Ray on YouTube. It'll come up.